This is the emergency podcast system. This is not a test. Movies are bombing all over the country. They are posing as movies you already know. They may already be in your theaters, your neighbor's home, or even your own. Do not panic. Specialists have been dispatched. They will help you identify these pretenders and defend you against this invasion of the remake. Please stand by for further instructions.
Welcome to the Invasion of the Remake podcast. I am your host, Jason Bishop, and with me, as always, are my co-hosts with the most puppetry. They got their hands up puppets' asses.
Ew.
No?
Sodomy. You might think it's very odd of me.
Trish Coughlin, everybody.
Hey,
The sultry tones of Trish Coughlin.
Very nicely done, Trish.
Thank you.
And I'm just ew.
And Sam Stepanenko, who is still at odds with this movie.
Oh, you have no idea.
Yeah.
We will find out.
I'm getting that feeling right from here.
This week we are doing a fan challenge. This is our third fan challenge, actually. Our first one was episode 46, Hard Rock Zombies, which is going to be a tough one to beat. Although I think this one might come close because they're really trying to put us off on this one.
Yeah.
Number 73, Paint Your Wagon, was also a fan challenge. So this week we are doing Meet the Feebles, as requested on Twitter by Kyle.
Hi, Kyle.
Hello, Kyle.
We're doing it.
Kyle Bros. And actually, you can check out Kyle. I think he's got a webpage with his art. He does like comic book style artwork, so go check him out.
Nice.
If not, try to find
Twitter
him on
handle's
Twitter.
at Kyohazard, I think.
Yeah, I think it's
Nice.
Kyle Hazard.
Yeah. Yeah, we're promoting you, Kyle.
Exactly.
That's
so
right.
if you get a lot of nasty tweets,
That's also his handle.
I'm not sorry.
It's also his handle on PlayStation. If anybody wants to play.
Although to anybody
play Call
wanting
of
to
Duty.
issue a fan challenge, this is what happens.
This is what happens.
So
And
think about that.
I think he thought he was going to fuck us up by making us do Meet the Feebles from 1989, written and directed by Peter Jackson, along with Fran Walsh, Stephen Sinclair, and Danny Mulhern. He's wrong, because just because we got a movie full of puppets doesn't mean we can't tackle this fucker.
For sure.
Oh, we're so tackling it.
We are totally tackling it. I've got my angle. I'm sure you guys have got your angles. We got this. We got this.
Yeah.
I think we got
Puppets.
this.
Exactly. Puppets. You think you can make it, the darkness mixed with the fluffiness of puppets. You think we can't deal with that? Yeah, we can.
Yeah, we can. We did Hard Rock Zombies. We can do this.
We are confident.
Yeah, we can do bad movies. It's good movies that we can't do.
I don't
Because they're
know.
already good. There's nothing to improve on a
Yes.
good movie.
Yeah.
That one episode where I decided One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest just to go the opposite direction. I'll make a bad movie
Make it a
out of a
bad
good movie.
Or a spoof of a good movie, which still could be a decent movie.
Exactly.
You just can never reach the heights of the original.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's the hard part.
One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, Network, another tough one.
Network.
Yeah.
But Network,
Peeping Tom,
just
we didn't
updating.
know was good until we saw it.
That's right, yes.
We
that
didn't
was
know how
really
good.
tough.
That was really tough because we didn't know how good that was until we saw it, and it's not one of
Yeah.
those. I think in the film industry it's well regarded, but outside of it, most people don't know it exists.
But, it's one of those movies, like you say, I watched it again for my horror block, and well before its time. Well before its time.
And so beautiful.
Yeah, this one not so much,
Oh, this is just ugly all the way fucking
It's
through.
disgusting,
but it's supposed to
but
be
great.
And watching this movie, I got to say, I guess Peter Jackson, his attention to detail, and I'm being polite about calling him anal retentive, but because
Sodomy. That's just going to happen throughout this
It's going to
whole
keep
episode.
going. It's going to happen through this whole show, especially this episode. And I mean, this is a pretty offensive, crazy puppet. Oh, I don't know. It's not really offensive.
It would have been in 1989.
I probably
Yeah.
would have.
But, yeah, no,
he's
I
definitely
just-
got a sixth sense of humor.
Yeah, and that's evidenced by his first film and his subsequent films for the until he sort of broke into Heavenly Bodies
Yeah.
and so on.
Well,
But-
I mean, yeah, but Dead Alive and what's the other one? Brain Candy?
Brain
Brain-
No, that's
Brain
not
Dead?
it. No,
no, it's not Brain Dead. It's
maybe it is Brain Dead.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the one I wanted to do.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
it's. I think he had this sort of obsession with the juxtaposition of stuff that was considered wholesome, and just making it so grotty and putting realism into it in a way that made it so unappetizing.
Yeah, this is a riff on the Muppet Show. Meet the Feebles is I maybe calling it a popular show on television. It's also a stage production, much like the Muppet Show. It's a variety show.
Well, the point of it is they have a variety show, but what the guy who runs the company wants to do is to get a syndicated TV show like the Muppet Show. They don't have it yet.
That's what the
They're
whole lead up was their television debut. Yeah.
Okay, so it's strictly a stage production. That explains Sebastian the Fox.
Yes.
Yes.
Which I thought he was great. I was like, yes, I totally get that stage manager.
Yeah, director,
Who just hated everybody.
Yeah, no, and I have to say that like the voice performances in this were excellent.
Yeah, it's just a handful of people that do multiple parts. I'd go through the roster, but it doesn't really make too much of a difference. You got Danny Mulheron, who also helped on the script. He's in the Heidi the Hippo costume. It's one of the more full-size puppets. Donner Ackerston, who is Samantha the cat. Stuart Davini, Mark Hadlow, Ross Jolly, Brian Sargent, Peter Veer Jones, Mark Wright, and an uncredited Doug Wren, who had probably one of the bigger parts, who was the voice of Blatch.
Oh, yes.
Which is kind of baffling that there's no credit, but
He may not have wanted
credits
it
are a
after
little bit weird.
True.
Yeah, he may have not wanted it.
It
That's
might
true.
have been his version of what's the director one they use when they don't want their name
Alan
on it.
Smithy.
Yeah.
There you go.
And I got to say, the puppets in this look pretty good. I mean, the sets are incredible because they're just dirty and dingy and again, that crazy attention to detail that you see in Peter Jackson films now.
Yeah.
And Lord of the Rings and King Kong, which we just covered a couple weeks ago.
And I've been in those theaters, that dark, dirty theater where it's all painted black, but there's like dust. It's been there a while.
They're all kind of like that. They really are. The backstage is
It's sort of chaos because there's props everywhere, and it's just
people everywhere.
just trying to get stuff done, trying to run it properly.
Yeah, the only room that's clean is the green room, and that's because guests are in there. No, it's a very accurate, a reasonably accurate representation of what the backstage typically looks like. Actually, my only real issue with this film, and this is my issue with Peter Jackson in general, is he stuffs too much into his.
This thing is stuffed. Like, he's got stories going with most of the characters.
Yeah, and it
You're up
gets
to
confusing.
like M plots and N plots.
Oh, God, there are so many.
And the first hour of the movie, I'm going, what the fuck is he doing? Where's he going?
Just tracking things, yeah. I'm just trying to track all these stories and who's who and what's what and what they're doing. I'm like, oh my God, there's so much going on in this film. It is, for an hour and a half, it is dense.
Yes.
It is really dense.
And the Peter Jackson now would have made it,
3 hours long.
movies.
That's my whole thing. I'm like, look, Peter, you can make a shorter movie and have your ideas in it. Just saying.
But this was not a success for him, as far as it goes.
Well,
because
I don't know. I mean,
he either needed to trim some stuff out, or he needed to make it longer.
I would
Some
have
of it.
liked to have seen, with all that attention to detail and those pretty great puppets for the low budget spent on. And this is low budget, $750,000. So crazy.
Well, if you think about it, what it made me think of, we're reminiscent of, I'm trying to remember the director who did MASH, where it's all these sort of winding different plots just around characters. That's what it made me think of. Like all those different strings. It's more better done in MASH and Prairie Home Companion. But it's the same type of idea. But just with puppets.
Yeah, we're looking backstage of an active production, so we're seeing things just flow from one thing to another, just following all these characters and their individual stories. It's and back and forth. It's pretty crazy. But back to what I was saying about the budget, I would have liked to have seen just a little bit more money spent on the film quality.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my God, is the filming of this bad?
Yes.
Like, it's just bad film. Like, it feels like the whole thing's out of focus. Lighting's pretty piss poor. But I mean, at $750,000, they probably only had 3 lights, and 2 of them didn't work.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's definitely lighting in this thing, but it doesn't feel like there's enough. Like, it looks rough.
But in some
and maybe that's to hide some of the puppetry and the.
I think that's part of it, and in some instances, I felt it did kind of work in its favor.
Oh, there were
because
certain scenes where
backstage
it did,
it's
yeah.
dark,
Yeah.
and it's you don't see a lot. It's just it's a dark space because it's supposed to be the place where nobody knows or sees anything.
Yeah.
And that is true, but yeah, when you're watching a film, can make it very challenging to enjoy it because you can't see anything.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's probably my biggest complaint about the movie.
It felt like a freaking Zack Snyder film.
The cinematography was terrible. I mean, the camera works fine, but the cinematography, in the lighting, of
and
the
film
sets
stock
and the film stock, those are poor choices.
Yeah, but like you say, I think it just might be a budgetary restriction.
Yeah, but it does successfully hide a bunch of things that they might not have been otherwise able to afford to hide.
Because you're doing
in
puppetry.
correction.
Yeah, you're doing puppetry and to try and hide, like some people manipulating the puppets. Like you've got to have people places to hide behind boxes and strings.
Who knows what? Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, I have to admit the puppets did look really, really good.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's something I just have to say, it's grotesque, but I could not look away. Something about puppets in like lingerie, weird lingerie on animals. That was like, I was fascinated by it.
Oh, Heidi the Hippo's big titties.
Big titties. And I have to say, like, let's be honest, like, she's supposed to be so grotesque, but they look pretty good. Like, they're up where they should be. They're just not sagging. She's kept it fairly tight.
And then they build two costumes for her because of her flashback. She's thinner and got more of an hourglass figure, and then in the current day, she's got more of a hippo figure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And then you have the cat who's always in lingerie. I don't think I've seen the cat in anything but that.
Well,
and the cow with the pierced udder nipples.
The BDSM cow.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, if that's not a good setup for the trailer, I don't know what is. Let's make you endure this.
Just once in a lifetime, there comes a motion picture so courageous, so explosive, that all else pales in comparison. A motion picture that breaks with convention, disregards taboos, risks 90 days in jail.
Feeling shy, are you, Blanche?
This is a family show, for Christ's sake. And digs deep into hitherto unexplored regions. This is such a picture.
Oh, it's beautiful white fur.
The barriers are down. Sex.
I'm hot, Blanche, but not the way you think.
Drugs. Animal husbandry.
Why did you bring it here? It's not mine. You know it's not.
We'll let the court decide that, shall we?
Corruption.
Barry, do me a line.
From the killing fields of Vietnam to the playing fields of Beverly Hills.
Oh, what the you bastard!
This is the motion picture that dares to probe the secret innermost fears.
It's the big one, Harry. No, it can't be. I've taken precautions.
That eats at the heart. That tears at the soul.
Please, God. I know I've been a bad bunny.
From Peter Jackson, the director who gave you Bad Taste, comes a movie with no taste at all. Meet the Feebles, a motion picture that gives all it's got. Meet the Feebles, the adult puppet movie with something to offend everyone. Please, don't tell your friends how it all comes out in the end.
Yippee!
Okay, and that corrected something we were trying to think about. Was Bad Taste was the movie, and Bad Taste. The aliens from Bad Taste are actually in the audience.
I was about to say that. Yeah,
Peter Jackson is one of them.
Yeah, I was looking at that when I saw the audience at the end. I'm like, holy crap! And I just noticed it.
Yeah,
it's good.
So that was the one I was trying to remember. So stay out of the comments. We got it. We figured it out. Don't worry. We fucked up, but we're back.
We got
it. We got it. thanks to that trailer. That's why I run the trailer. Sometimes it refreshes the brain pan.
And you got to think, we have so many freaking names and movies and directors and all these people floating on our heads, and sometimes you get them mixed up.
Yep, you're gonna fuck up once in a while.
Yep.
So there we go. It's bad taste.
And this movie could have been called Bad Taste as well.
Well, I'd say
Questionable taste?
Well, I'd say that most of Peter Jackson's early career was
in bad taste, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I love Dead Alive, but that's
he always wanted to push
grotesque.
the envelope in a lot of areas. Like I say, he likes the juxtaposition of something that is supposed to be wholesome and just destroying it.
Yeah. But it is smart. Like, with all of these films, he's going out of his way to essentially get noticed. And we notice.
Oh, yeah.
We totally notice. So it worked. It got him out of New Zealand because we all wanted to see these shocking films. I mean, Dead Alive was banned in several countries and heavily edited in others.
I mean, there's a lot of gore, like a lot of gore in that. So I can see how some countries would have been a little overly sensitive about it.
Mm-hmm. There's some gore in this one, too.
Yeah.
It's weird what they're so sensitive about some things. They're like, I've seen more horrific stuff done on film. People are like, oh no, but it's like, it's art and stuff happens. I'm like, in Dead Alive, I'm like, no, it's making fun of a lot of bullshit. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's not as bad as you think it is.
Yeah,
No,
no,
I've seen the edited version of that and the edited version, and I don't know why it got edited.
Like
but
people getting
I think
offended
that's
by
time.
stupid shit.
I think that's just time.
Yeah.
Different society, different things that bothered us don't bother us as much anymore.
Well, it was weird. People
actually,
want to see
everything fucking bothers us now. They've got a super oversensitive society now.
Well-
right? So this could actually be get a lot more response than it did in 1989 because everybody would have gone, "Oh, you can't do that." There's the Vietnam scene. Oh, you can't do that.
Yeah, but we just had a
That
movie
was Deer
called
Hunter.
Sausage. We just had a movie that looks like a kids' movie called Sausage Party. That was clearly an adult thing.
Yes.
With kitchen food.
Actually, no. I think you're the mistake is you're making is. I think if you take it too seriously, people will get offended. But if you're mocking it very much in the way I think is happening in this movie, if you're mocking a bunch of bullshit and people getting freaked out about the wrong things, I think this works better.
Well, and a lot of it would just probably you're right. People would see it as parody. There's a few scenes there where I don't think people would. I genuinely don't think that the Vietnam flashback, the way that they played it in this movie, would fly with oversensitive audiences.
But that was a spoof of Deer Hunter. Clearly,
It was clearly,
especially the torture of Kurtz kind of thing.
Oh, exactly.
That
But this
was
is the same
totally
society who got worked up about Iron Fist being white.
Which don't get me started.
I'm just making a point.
I know.
Right.
That was something that really bothered me because, I mean, being a comic book guy, I mean, the whole point of the story was this fish out of water guy. And if you make him Asian, I'm like, well, aren't you just pigeonholing another Asian into a martial arts stereotype? And you don't see a problem with that? I was baffled by that whole thing.
I read an alternative idea about
and
that.
in the end, the show sucked anyway.
Yeah,
So.
exactly. I think it was because the original source material was sort of that white savior thing, but I think what people wanted, and I don't know if they would have done it properly, was have somebody torn between two cultures, like an American Asian guy torn between his past and like where he is now. Like that is what I found is like one of the arguments I kind of got.
Yeah, but they got that Marvel character's named Shang-Chi.
Yes.
So, guys, wait for it. It'll come.
Yeah. But yeah, ultimately, that was the point I was trying to make, is people make a big deal out of little things. So I think that there are aspects of even the original movie that people would make a big deal out of. Unnecessarily, mind you.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. That whole white iron fist, I don't know what that is. But I don't care. I don't care that much. That's part of the problem.
Well,
but it's
nor should you. It's entertainment.
Yeah.
Right?
It's a show based
Ultimately,
on a comic book.
Yeah.
Let's not. I think people get a little too possessive about things they don't own.
Yeah.
Exactly, and it's entertainment.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
it's
I
not
think
meant to be a commentary.
And it's also the problem, like you're bringing stuff from the 1970s. It's a different time then. It's a different time now.
Yeah.
When you're trying to repurpose stuff, like when we're talking about remaking stuff, are we making it exactly how they would do it in the 70s? No, we're not.
No.
That's not we wouldn't do that same thing.
It's different in the 70s.
Yeah.
Yeah, we wouldn't we might not remake that the same way.
No.
You see? So, yeah, you're getting worked about people wanting it to be remade a different way, but we kind of are on that page where we don't want it remade the same way.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, that was the point I was trying to make. Is that
Yeah.
even though people shouldn't be getting worked up about it, people would and will, because people are oversensitive and get worked up about stupid shit.
Yeah, because they don't seem to have anything better to do.
They have no sense of humor, and they're, I don't know. Everybody needs a freaking cause now.
Except for our listeners, right?
True. I don't know.
They're all cool, right?
It's just yeah.
cool, people. Be cool.
Speaking as comedy, like sense of humor, I just say don't punch down. That's it. That's your only real goal.
Yeah.
If you
right?
punch down, you're an asshole, and if you're also a bad writer.
Yeah.
If you have to take the easy joke that mocks somebody who's vulnerable, then fuck you. You're terrible.
Yeah.
So that's just my take on it. But anyway, back to the Feebles.
Yes.
Yeah, so for the guy who started picking on me in the comedy audience, you're an asshole.
Yeah, exactly.
That was his whole act. I'm like, he just picked me because he thought my shirt was funny. So like for the next 20 minutes, I was the butt of his jokes. And you're right. The only laugh he got was the audience gave him was when I shot back.
Yeah,
because that just proved I was funnier than the comic.
And the
on
only
stage.
laughs that I've gotten, some people like, I only pick on somebody if you're being a fucking dick.
Yeah.
And if you're asking for it, then hell yeah, it's on.
Then you deserve it.
Yeah.
Because the audience won't be on your side.
But if you're a nice person in the audience, I just want to talk to you, say, hey, I'm not going to mock you. I just want to be like, cool.
Same thing happens on social media, so don't be a douche.
Okay, but anyway, back to the movie.
That's right. Back to the movie. I don't know what the fuck we were talking about.
We were talking about how some of the stuff was offensive,
Yes.
might continue to be offensive, but
We lost our way.
it was the point.
Goddamn Iron Fist ruins everything.
It was the point. Yeah. Good God. Stupid show. Anyway.
It was. I could do a whole show about it. Just the further and further I got, I just had to see it through to get to Defenders because the further I got, the angrier I got. Anyway, and it had nothing to do with casting, by the way. Nothing to do with casting.
It was writing.
But
Yeah,
anyway,
it was
to the
right.
density of this film, where there's
Yes.
all the multiple plots. Like,
Well,
the overarching
you got
plot is
4
they're
writers
trying to
on this
do like a show to get syndicated.
Yeah.
And it's a variety show, and Heidi is the star.
yeah, Heidi's the star, although we don't see a lot of her in the film.
And
she's,
Walter is the other
she's been
showpiece
brought
star.
in.
Yes.
The big giant walrus Bletch discovers her at an old blues club when she's 16.
Yes. Way young.
Picks her up at 16, and they're already.
It's gross.
Yeah, it's a bit gross. It's not cool. But arguably does turn her into a star and keeps his promises up to a point. But he's leading her on with a relationship as well. Meanwhile, Samantha's blowing him under his desk.
Which she catches him at, like, Heidi sees that bit, but like before she runs in to go see him and he's banging this cat on his desk. That's like the first 5 minutes.
Yep. Really sets the tone, doesn't it?
Yeah. I saw that and I'm like, holy crap. Okay, so we're just diving right in. Okay.
Yep. They don't waste a lot of time.
Anyways,
We should run through the main characters.
Yeah.
There's a lot
Because
of
there's a lot of them, and there's a lot of they all have their own little plots. Maybe I'll just kind of go through some of my casting. I'm not going to do my casting. I'm just using that as a reference.
The cast of the film.
Yeah. So Samantha's just the mistress
Yeah.
for Bletch. And that's really all of her function really is. We've got Arthur the snake, and it took me a while to figure out that it was a snake and not a worm.
I thought he was a worm.
Well, he did. I kind of thought he was a snake because they did the whole snake bit, with the snake charming.
Oh, he's
act.
pretending to be a snake. He is a worm.
He is either a worm or a snake.
He's wearing fake teeth because that's the act. That's the joke.
So he's a worm. I actually figured after Feebles, because he survives the film, and then he went on to do Labyrinth, and he was the worm in the wall.
Oh,
Or his
no.
kids were, maybe.
Yeah, see, he was always a worm, but
Tiny
like I
universes
say,
together. I'm liking it.
yeah.
There we go. So he had a career after this movie, in my mind.
Except that Labyrinth predates this movie.
When was Labyrinth?
86?
87,
Same year.
88.
Oh, it does. It
Oh,
does
maybe
bring
that's
this
what happened. Like he
Oh,
is
maybe
older.
that was his younger role. Then.
That's what I'm
Maybe,
saying. He is older in this movie.
Yeah,
So
and he
me-
retires to the Feebles, and it was just
He
a bad
retires to the
career
country as an old
choice.
worm.
And he is the kindly guy who's kind of the guiding
I
light
loved him.
for a lot of characters, including Robert the Porcupine, who's just coming in as one of the background singers.
Hedgehog.
Porcupine, hedgehog,
Hedgehog. Yeah.
fine.
Because he curls up into a ball when he gets nervous.
Yes. I don't know. I don't know the difference.
Porcupines don't do that.
He got spines.
Yeah, but they throw them at things when they're angry.
Okay. Well, Robert never...
Tell
he
that
does
to
get
our
angry.
dogs growing up.
He
That's
does
what they
get
do.
angry. It's true. So he's just coming in. Robert's just coming in as a new backup singer or
While
New cast
the-
member of some sort, yeah.
Yeah. And he's getting the tour from the Arthur the worm. This is gonna take me a while because there's so many characters.
There's a lot of characters.
And he is smitten with this poodle, Lucy.
Lucille.
Yeah, and Lucy's kind of takes to him pretty quick. There's some nice scenes where he serenades her, and they basically...
Well, they're both
They're
new to the
smitten at
cast.
first sight, right? They're
Yeah,
both
they're
new to the
bo-
cast, and
Yeah.
first time they see each other, there's the googly eyes, the starry eyes, and everything, right? It was-
Yeah.
Her
Yeah.
long poodle lashes flapping at him.
Yeah, and now keep this in mind, because we'll come back to that. There's also a rat who... Trevor, thank you. Trevor the rat, and he's probably the most lecherous one in this entire lecherous troupe
Yeah.
of people. Robert's the most innocent.
Yep.
And he's dealing drugs and
porno.
making pornos, and he's dealing drugs to the frog Wynyard,
Yeah.
and he's making these BDSM porn movies until his whipping lobster gets crushed under the cow.
Yeah, it's a weta, apparently,
Yeah, it's a bug.
which is a type of bug. I didn't know. I didn't think. I thought weta was just.
Well, that's why they got the bug on their symbol.
Yeah, I didn't know it was a real bug, though.
It's actually a species of bug from
New Zealand.
New Zealand, yeah.
Okay, yeah, it's
They
very
look like-
I had to look it up
lobster-looking.
because I'm like, okay, what is it? Like, I could tell it was a bug or crustacean of some sort. So I looked it up. And yeah, it's a species of bug.
Well, that's interesting because Robert
Yeah.
Taylor, who owns Weta, also built a lot of the puppets for this. So
Oh, yeah.
they all came up
It's
together.
a very detailed bug.
Yeah, very detailed
Yeah,
bug
so
for
he-
such a short scene.
Yeah,
Yes.
he gets crushed, and as they're viewing some of their footage, they realize they might need a new star because the cow, whose name I can't remember right
Yeah,
now.
Henrietta,
can't-
I think.
I don't,
Really?
Yeah, it was something like that. They wanted to recast, and they've got that the
They didn't finish the film. They
they
did
didn't
somebody
finish the
else.
film, and they've got eyes on Lucille.
Oh yeah,
That's right, yeah. Because, yeah, what does Bletch say? I think people are getting tired of big udders.
yeah. Oh my god.
And they brought the anteater in too, the drug.
Yeah, the anteater who smells everybody, like all the girls' underwear.
He's a panty sniffer.
Yeah,
he's-
just
He's
getting right in there.
lecherous, yeah, because he's watching. There's one point there where he's watching Walter get it on with two other bunnies and getting a little worked up, and that was really kind of a disturbing scene to watch.
Oh yeah,
Oh, with goo coming out
out
of his nose.
Yeah.
That one did gross me out quite
Yeah.
a bit.
What did they say? Because they brought him in to replace the Weta.
The Weta.
And they coined the term nasal anal.
Nasal anal, yeah, and they do that. They showed that. That's part of the movie.
Nasal anal.
Well, when you're an anteater, you got that going for you.
There's a lot
That's
of
his
anal.
biggest appendage. So
Yeah, there's a lot of anal.
and
jokes
there's
in
a
this
tongue
movie.
that comes out of it. So you do the math.
good God, that was one of my favorite bits. There's Sid the elephant, who's going through a paternity
Yeah.
suit with a chicken.
Yep.
Great hybrid baby thing.
And
Oh.
it was this baby chicken elephant thing. I don't think it's mine. He's very much a sad sack kind of
Yeah.
character.
And yeah, and their baby, which just looks like a crime against all that is good. Poor, like just this. That poor baby chick-elephant. Chick-elephant?
Chickafant?
Chickafat?
Yeah.
We'll call it a chickafat. I like chickafat. So that's his little thing, because he's constantly
Yeah.
trying to avoid the chicken, and bad things happen to the chicken.
Chicken named Sandy.
Sandy the chicken. That's right. It was Sandy. What else we got?
Wynyard. Wynyard is a heroin addict.
Wynyard's a heroin addict, and obviously his dealer was the rat.
Yeah.
And he sometimes has NAB flashbacks. He's an older
But his
puppet.
act is as a knife thrower.
He's a knife thrower,
So
but
when
he
he's
can't
going through
afford-
withdrawals, he can't do his job.
Yeah, he can't. Couldn't afford his fix, and so he's starting to shake. He actually kills one of his assistants.
Oh yeah. Dead.
Yeah, knife goes right into the guy. It actually is fine on the first two. That third one goes...
Yeah.
And that's... Robert, at this point, has become a real pain in the ass to the production.
Oh, yeah.
Because, what's my motivation? And I feel like I should be doing this on the Wampots.
Yeah,
the Wampots, yeah.
He's got a
speech impediment.
Speech impediment, yeah.
Woo-see-o.
Robert was my favorite.
So the stage manager, Sebastian the Fox, decides, I have an ideal role for you because now Wynyard's lost the assistant, so now he's become the new target on the board.
Because, I think this fox just wants to get rid of Robert.
Yeah, Heidi the hippo is kind of upset at the beginning of the thing, so she goes off into the world. She goes for a jog and lands at a bakery and eats everything at the bakery.
Yeah.
Except for the one cake she gets to go.
Yeah,
the one cake she gets to go. And then... but
I love when they find Black Forest in her tits.
I know. So good. But watching her run around with a Walkman... Like an 80s Walkman, like tied around with a strap. Yeah, I was so happy.
They're running around in the real world with these giant puppets. It's so great.
Yeah.
They've got a few like that. They've got those giant crabs that the gangster whale had.
And then
Mr.
the bulldog is out driving the car for Blatch.
Is it a thing? Is this a thing where Peter Jackson always has to have a giant spider?
Yeah, you saw that too.
I
did. I was like...
Like the producer of Wild Wild West?
Yeah,
needs to have giant spiders.
Yeah, during the drug deal that went bad, and they go and get their because they just got a big tub of borax. So they wound up going to get their drugs back, and there's a lot of crabs, the heavy, and then the giant whales, Mr. Big, and then they also had the big warthog.
The warthog where they're playing golf.
Yeah,
because they're facilitating their deal at that point, right?
Yeah, they're facilitating, and the warthog has an assistant as well, who's like a dog.
Yeah.
Like an Irish Wolfhound type looking dog.
Yeah, but this giant spider, and like where the fuck did that come from and why?
I don't know. It was just there. I thought that was Mr. Big until the whale shows up.
It in a way, it sort of makes sense, and I will tell you why. The giant spiders are the cranes that lift everything on the docks. Like, they use their webbing. Like, you see it at one point.
Yeah.
They're the netting. They pick up the stuff and they move it.
Totally right.
You were totally right.
That's what the spiders are there for.
Yeah. I mean, the sheer scale for some of these puppets is low for such a low budget.
Huge.
Is amazing because there's multiple large scale creatures like in full people in the big bodysuits, but there's also the big giant spider and then the whale that comes out of on the docks like crazy.
And the Volkswagen goes through it.
Yeah.
But the spider is on top of the Volkswagen. This is a proper size Volkswagen.
Yeah.
Because these are people in human costumes in the Volkswagen.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, what he accomplished with such a small budget, is pretty impressive. And the funny thing is that budget was actually smaller, and then he got somebody from the New Zealand Film Fund to give some more money.
Yeah, they initially were turned down, and then they finally got, I think, 2/3 from the film board.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. And then the film board saw the movie, and then they didn't want any credit.
Oh, yeah, nice. Well, they probably went to the film board. Yeah, no, it's a movie with puppets.
Oddly enough, the guy who turned them down, initially turned them down and had their credit removed for the film board, is now one of Peter Jackson's big producers for his movies.
He's one of his main collaborators,
Yeah. So fences were mended.
Oh, nice. Or maybe he's like, okay, I see the potential of this guy, but we just got to do something.
That was exactly it. He's like... I don't know if I like that film, but I see the potential, and he's like, okay, I'm on board.
I actually seen this film before, and I don't remember liking it too much, and I think maybe because just that poor film quality. But I did like it a lot more than this go-around, because I think the first time I didn't really know who Peter Jackson was at that point. He certainly hadn't done any of the Lord of the Rings material when I had seen it. Maybe that's Michael J. Fox thing with the ghosts.
Frighteners?
Ooh, Frighteners.
Yeah.
Like that
Which is a great movie.
I love that
great
movie. It's great.
And I think that's what made me look at some of his older stuff. And I'd already seen Dead Alive. I probably didn't even make an association at that point. But once I started making those connections from Frighteners and to Dead Alive, and I'm like, I'm going to have to see what else he's done.
Yeah, I don't think I saw this because I think I tried watching Bad Taste and I
still haven't seen Bad Taste.
I saw part of it, and maybe I need to give it another try. I wasn't in the right headspace, but who knows?
Don't let this be a thing where you have to challenge us to do bad taste.
Oh yeah, no,
We'll get to it on our own. Thank you.
I want to.
We've done 2 Peter Jacksons pretty quick succession.
Yeah.
We're not going to do another one for a while.
I want to make my own choices.
Yeah, no, I had not seen it before this one. I knew it existed. I just wasn't interested. And you know what? I can't say I was missing anything. I'm glad I finally saw it, but I don't think I was missing anything. There's lots to like in this film, but there's too much between the stuff to like to really enjoy it.
Yeah, like you say, I think it's just too dense. I think if you made it a little leaner, it would be.
Yeah.
Because I love the grotesquerie of it. I do. I love it.
I like the sickness of it, but I didn't find myself laughing at it.
Very rarely, a couple, like 2 or 3 times I remember actually laughing, okay, that was funny. For the most part, I think part of it is at no point was I invested in any of these characters. I wanted to be invested in Robert and Lucille.
Yeah,
but
he's the only character you can really get behind.
That's right. And Heidi to a certain extent, because she's not a bad person.
No.
Right? So when she goes off the rails, you kind of feel for her, but only kind of, because you just don't get enough of her to really feel anything.
Oh, yeah, there should be more, like, to get a hold of Heidi.
Yeah, Bletch really,
it's more Bletch's story. It's stupid.
It is, but he is the cornerstone of this show. He's
the producer.
He's the producer. He's the one financing all of this. I mean, he's got his shady deals going,
and he's the one that ties everybody together.
Yeah, and he's keeping the production together. He knows just the right thing to say to people to keep them going with Heidi. And sometimes he takes one for the team to keep that show going.
But the thing about it is...
he gets caught being blown under the desk, and it still just goes in and goes...
I know.
Throws himself at Heidi, and Heidi's all cool again for a little bit. Until he finally blows up and says, we don't need you for this show, you fat,
Yeah.
It was... And it just threw poor Heidi off the deep end.
Yeah.
It's too bad they had a cache of guns on site.
Yeah.
Yeah, why do they? Well, no, he just had them because he's a criminal. I just remember that. Thank you.
He's a criminal, and they just had come back from a major
drug deal.
A heist at this point, stealing their drugs back.
Yeah, but I mean, because Bletch is certainly the cornerstone of the film, but. Yeah. The thing is you can't get invested in him. You do not care about him. You can't wait to see this guy die.
Yeah. Like, I mean, I think you should have gotten time to be invested in Heidi, because I know Bletch is like the cornerstone of this, but without Heidi, there is no show, and they said that.
That's right.
Yeah.
Right.
So we should have had more time with her, because
their other big star, I think, on this show is Harry the rabbit.
Yes.
Harry the hare.
He's the face of it. He's the Bugs Bunny of it.
Yeah, he is the Bugs Bunny, and he certainly is a Bugs Bunny pastiche. And they do the whole fucking like bunnies joke.
Yeah, which I'm sorry, I thought it was hilarious. So
that was pretty funny.
Bunny porn was funny.
Yeah, he's getting it on with a couple of female bunnies.
Yeah,
that's with the anteaters watching that.
Yeah,
he gets tossed out. But shortly after that, they think he's got the big one.
The big one, which
this is '80s, so this is the AIDS scare. So they, he's been misdiagnosed with the big bad venereal disease.
He was diagnosed by Dr. Quack.
Yes.
Who was awesome. He was so much fun. I loved
with
his
a Paul
voice.
Lynn impression.
Yeah.
Because I was like listening to it going, he's doing someone, and I'm trying to
There's a couple the rat's Peter Lorre.
Yeah.
And Wynyard is somebody too. I can't remember.
Jim from Taxi.
No.
Christopher Lloyd.
Well, it's funny because that's who I cast as his voice.
Me too.
Nice.
It was just too obvious.
Yeah, it was too obvious, but that's because he was who he's supposed to be. He was a Christopher Lloyd character.
Okay, they said the name, and I'm like, I don't know who that is.
Yeah, it's the Christopher Lloyd character from Taxi.
Okay.
Yeah. But just horrible. Because the Christopher Lloyd character from Taxi, I loved him.
Yes.
He was my favorite character.
Yeah. Everybody loved him.
But, so he's just degrading health-wise through this whole thing with what winds up being bunny pox. He just needed to rest up for a week.
Vomiting and pussy sores.
Yeah, so it's just getting worse and worse, and to the point where he's just trying to make it to the show before he dies.
Yeah. Well, in this universe, the big one, and I think it's because it's an animal and it's a rabbit, he doesn't have so many months to live. He has so many hours. Yeah,
they say, okay, how many... He asks, how much time do I got? Doc says, like, 12. Oh, 12 months? And it's like, no. 12 days? No. 12 hours.
And he's getting, and they just, he was just so disgusting looking by the time he got on stage.
Was great.
It makes me wonder how many puppets they went through to do that.
I don't know, but it was just horrific, and it was so funny. It was actually one of the things I found funny was how horrific they made him.
Oh, yeah.
The gross out stuff was so gross, because there's the scene with FW, fly on the wall, get it?
Fly on the wall.
Yeah, some of that stuff.
That's what I called them. I just called them fly on the wall.
Yeah, because but yeah, with him eating the poop in the toilet.
Yeah, he's the press guy.
Yeah,
The fly on the wall is he's the press.
It's very on the nose, like
Yeah.
spreading shit, eating shit.
yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, hangs out in toilets. Somebody has a. That's actually how they lure him, because he leaks the story about Harry being sick.
Yeah.
And they're not too happy about it, so they lure him into a trap
By saying, "Who took this great big
dump.
stinking dump?" Oh, it was awesome.
That won't flush, and the fly's like, ooh.
Oh, what about the guppy?
Oh yes.
The guppy who's auditioning a bit to Bletch.
Yes.
In like this sequined suit.
Yeah. So he's singing, doing a little dance, and then Bletch is like, "Oh, something's wrong with my tooth. Can you take a closer look for me and see?"
Way back there, and just eats him. Yeah.
Yes. And then vomits him up later.
On
Yeah.
the golf course.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going totally non-linear with this episode because there's nothing
There's
linear
just too
about this
much,
show. There's just
no.
too much. But so we're just picking up favorite bits, I guess.
Yeah. Well, actually, those Tribble things that Sid had trained
Oh, that's
that got crushed by the
that-
barrel.
You know, they took me so long to train.
I know. And it was like going, oh, dude.
What was that thing in the basement they fed the bodies to?
I
don't know.
I don't even know what that was.
Yeah, there was
Some sort of creature in the basement. But you have a feeling that this whole show, because of like the knife throwing and stuff, that creature they had to have for a while, because people on this show, that's why they have to recast. People die.
I don't think
they don't
there's
just
any
leave the
law
show.
in like this animal city, this anthropomorphic world they live in.
No.
It doesn't feel like there's actually any law.
Oh no.
No. It seems like it is pretty lawless. Yeah, because the assistant dies, and it's like, okay, well, we'll just replace her.
Yeah. Yeah, there's no there's no investigation. Nobody.
And then
looks
when the
into
Weta
it.
dies, the S&M Weta dies again. No concern. They just move on to the next willing partner.
Although
Yeah.
I'm wondering if this just isn't something to say about how showbiz, and if you have enough power and are famous enough, you can get away with anything.
You'll get eaten alive.
Or you get eaten alive, but you can get away with anything as long as you're high enough up on the chain.
And you know that may have been the part of the commentary, right?
Yeah. Because there is that's the thing. Part of this movie is commentary.
Oh, there's no question. There's quite a
Like,
bit of commentary actually.
Not a lot of it is laugh out loud, but there's a lot of commentary.
Oh, the one I called the Gandhi puppet. They got his head.
Oh,
his
he's
own
got his head up his
stuck
ass.
on
Yes.
his
That
When
was
he finally
freaking
gets
hilarious.
unstuck. It's just covered in shit.
So gross.
Just in time to get his head blown off.
He was one segment human centipede.
It's so bad.
It was funny. 'cause
Yoga
you
gone wrong.
Yeah, you saw it coming as soon as he fell off that thing. I'm like, oh, his head's going up his ass. His head's up his ass.
Was the only he was humanoid, wasn't he?
He was,
the only
yeah.
humanoid puppet.
Humanoid-ish, yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't think he was anything else. I think he was human.
Yeah.
So there is human puppets in this universe. They're just amongst the animals.
Yeah, he was the only one that I can think of, though.
No,
That was
there's no
humanoid.
other ones.
There's no other ones that I can recall.
Nope. That's why he's really stood out for me, because
Yeah.
I was like, you're so weird. You're not an animal.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, he didn't look like... It took me a while to figure out that Wynyard was a frog. I thought he was a lizard thing.
I thought it was an alligator.
I
Yeah.
suspect... Yeah, I thought so too, but I suspect they were trying to make him look very different for lawsuit reasons.
That's my other feeling.
Yeah.
Yes,
Litigation
for sure.
on frogs is probably pretty serious.
And that's why Heidi was a hippo and not a pig.
Yes.
Yes, and I mean, you can see those correlations between Muppet characters through a lot of the characters, right?
Oh, sure.
I mean, I think Robert was supposed to be Scooter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like the thing with the chicken and the elephant, that's Gonzo and
Yeah.
the chickens.
Yeah.
Yeah, unquestionably, yeah. I'm actually
Yeah, this
surprised-
is what Gonzo should have gone through, because I'm positive he was fucking those chickens.
Oh, well, there's no question.
Which one was Fozzie?
Fozzie was a bear. He was a
Well,
Joker.
I know who Fozzie is. Who was it? Who's his...
His correlation.
yeah.
His correlation of Fozzie the bear. I think he was the sodomy guy, if I'm honest.
Waka, waka, waka.
Yeah.
Like because Fozzie,
might be right,
Fozzie in the Muppet Show, he tells jokes, but they're not good, and he's always getting mocked by
Yeah.
Waldorf and Stadler. So the guy, is he a raccoon who does the sodomy one? He's not
Fox,
doing very
He's
well.
the Fox.
Yeah.
Oh,
He's
really? I thought he was a Fox.
He's the stage producer. He's a
No,
Fox.
he's not the stage producer. He's
He
a different
is.
guy, isn't he?
No, it's the stage producer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Well,
that is Sebastian.
Because
who
he's
does the
trying to
song.
convince, because he knows things are going to shit. He wants to bring it in his act, and apparently he's already done it before because they've turned him down.
Yeah.
Since then because they know what it is.
But yeah, maybe I figured going onto stage and tanking, that's his correlation.
That may have been, yeah.
Yeah, you might be right.
Yeah, and of course you also had the Mr. Teeth piano player
Yeah.
correlation there too. Like
Yeah.
that was the first one I picked up right
Oh,
away.
yeah.
He was easy to pick up.
Yeah.
We don't really see him outside of the musical scene.
No.
Lucille might have been Janice.
Oh, yeah.
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 I mean,
That's
I
a great
don't
thing
think
about chickens is they're fairly easy to do too. So
Yeah.
they've
Yeah.
got their chickens as well.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm sure they're not direct correlations from
No.
every single.
Oh, no.
character,
There's a
obviously.
combination of different
Nor
characters.
would they ever say so.
No. Like, I think part of the Scooter character is the Arthur character
Yeah.
in a
Yeah.
way.
And it's not all Muppets that they're,
No, it's
yanking
definitely
from.
not. I mean, they've
So,
got, and there's parodies of other things as we mentioned
Yeah.
earlier.
Oh,
Deer
yeah.
Hunter parody in there.
yeah.
And I think, like, the whole
Bugs
thing
Bunny
with
for
Bugs
sure.
Bunny. Yeah, Bugs Bunny. I think this is what he was saying is like, yeah, no, Bugs Bunny's like the star of the Warner Bros., but like, what dark secrets does he have? That's what I was thinking. And I'm like, yeah, no, Bugs Bunny's got some kinks. We know this.
Yeah, he dresses up as a girl all the time, right?
Yeah, kisses Elmer Fudd,
Yeah.
but like he'd kiss girls too. Like he's open to a lot of stuff. I think Bugs Bunny
Bugs
was like,
Bunny's by. That's fine.
And that's
it's
absolutely fine.
Good on you,
It's
buddy.
all good.
And you can run around whatever clothes you
Yeah.
want. Transgender's all good. now.
I have a belief that maybe in the end, like Elmer Fudd was like just really closeted and unhappy, and then him and Bugs got together, and they were a happy couple for a long time. I want to believe that they lived kind of happily ever after.
Well, it explains the chase then.
Yeah, that's what I believe. It was just and now Elmer and Bugs are living their best life, and at a bed and breakfast somewhere in Cornwall. That's what I believe.
So Elmer Fudd was kind of that repressed redneck, homophobic, so he's
Yeah.
trying to kill himself kind of character.
Yes.
And then he comes out and realizes that he really is gay and
Yeah.
reconciles with Bugs. And I see where you're
and
going.
Bugs understood this, and he was just trying to show him the way and like show him that compassion that he needed to be who he needed to be.
I'd go with that.
Yeah. See, isn't that beautiful?
Yeah. Let's get back to the disgusting stuff.
Okay. We had our moment of happiness. Now back to the grot.
That's right. So Heidi, she has a meltdown.
Yeah.
She has a meltdown. Grabs one of the M16s, which was a real M16, I might add. Like, well,
Whoa.
actually, all guns on set are real, usually. But Peter Jackson couldn't find blanks for the M16,
Holy shit.
so they used live ammo when they were doing these
Oh,
scenes.
Peter.
He's determined to kill an actor, isn't he?
Oh,
He is.
shit.
He will not rest
Yeah,
until
we-
he's killed someone.
You think about how many times Viggo just about died in Lord of the Rings,
Yeah.
right? I mean, I think he is determined to kill an actor.
And you know what? When you're talking real M16, that makes that initial suicide she's trying to do at the beginning even the more harrowing.
It's crazy. Yeah.
I'd be like, yeah, no, I'm going to have the hippo costume here, but I'm going to be to this side. I'm not going to be in that fucker.
Ain't gonna happen.
Well, and then Bletch too. I mean, obviously they're going to have to get the actors out of there when they
Yeah.
shoot them, but not too many people make it out alive.
No.
At least the Sid only gets his knees shot. And
But he saves his chick. Was it a chickavant?
saves the chickafant and becomes a single parent.
Yeah.
Takes responsibility
Becomes a farmer.
and becomes a farmer. Yes,
Horticulturalist.
they do.
Yeah.
They actually show you where the survivors are at the end of this.
Yeah,
thing.
it's great. Yeah, that postscript were like, so and so is now this.
Yeah.
Lucille and Robert get married. He's a fashion photographer.
And they have 2 children.
Yeah. And the worm guy just got an OBE, an Order of the British Empire, and retired to the country.
Yeah, and after serving time, Heidi is now a clerk at a grocery store
Yeah.
Under a new identity.
under
Yeah.
a new identity.
And the Fox guy wrote a book, and he's selling the film rights to it.
Yes. And that tells you about how many of these guys actually survived.
Yeah, because that was it.
That was it. The fly gets crushed and flushed.
Yeah.
No,
Wings
de-winged
ripped
and then
off
flushed.
and
De-ringed and
flushed.
flushed.
Yeah.
Bletch gets blown apart. The guy who was the rat gets blown apart.
Yeah, Sandy gets blowed up.
Yep.
Harry finds out that he does not have the big one. He just has bunny pox.
Oh yeah, and he's starting to celebrate after puking an ungodly amount.
Oh, disgusting!
On stage because
onto the steps, onto the piano, onto everything.
Yeah, he could barely get out of his thing, and then he pukes up about 10 times his own body weight
in green, disgusting
puss.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and he pusses all over the place too. It's gross. They just do disgusting things.
I've seen The Exorcist. Did that gross me out more?
He gets the phone call from Doc Quack, and
I made a boo boo.
Yeah, and finds out he just needs rest and he's going to be okay. So he's kind of celebrating just in time to get his head blown off.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, literally, like he comes charging out. I don't have the big one. Boom.
Yep. He's one of the first down, actually.
Yeah.
And
sad.
Taking out tons and tons of people. Cameramen are taken out. Like, she takes out a lot of people. Like, a bunch of the chorus.
The audience. It's horrible. It's horrible.
And Robert's like has that one brief heroic moment where he saves Lucille.
Well, he has two heroic moments. He saves Lucille, and then the rat has the drop on Heidi, and Bletch is like, kill her. And then Robert goes and flies through the air and kicks the rat, and then Heidi
does a
blows him away.
Luke Skywalker swing, and just enough time to be a good distraction, and which probably saves him from getting shot.
Oh, for sure. And then at the end, the worm, like Heidi's like he's telling Heidi, I'm gonna have to turn you in. And then you get to the end where she's like, just play the song one more time. Garden of Love. Yes.
Yeah. So I was glad to see he survived as well.
Yeah. Arthur was, the only other likable character in this whole damn movie.
Think he had to, because he was really the only one I think Heidi would listen to and the only one that she trusted. And he did care for Heidi.
Yeah, I mean, she could have shot him several times and, walks. Although sometimes I don't think she notices him.
No, she walks over him a lot.
That's exactly it. And they make that very clear.
You always think he's going to get crushed.
Yeah. That very first scene where she's stomping off the stage and he's trying to talk to her and she just steps right over him, right?
Yeah. I think he knows this. He knows how to get out of her way.
Sad.
I know. So on that note, like, it's just
somewhere in the Weta warehouse there is a crate full of shot up puppets.
Gross, like just with goop all over them. There's pussy and shot up puppets.
Yeah, they don't have stuffing like you would think. They are fleshy inside.
Yeah. There's an anteater with like goo that seeped that.
Oh yeah, when they melt him, like his nose gets all melted from snorting the borax.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also very disgusting.
Yeah.
And then the dog, they feed to the dog, and the dog just melts to nothing.
Yeah, it was gross. It was awesome.
Yeah, I mean, they went all out on the scenes where it was going to be gross. We're going all out. We're not going to hold back on the grossness of this, right?
Nope.
No. If you've ever seen Dead Alive and the crazy gore in that, it's present here as well.
Well, I think it was part of the point he was trying to make. Is it also makes the puppets more realistic if they feel like there's goo inside them and not air in a person's hand.
Yeah. And stuffing and foam and
it certainly gives them weight.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think that was part of the reason, because it's like it makes it more realistic and thus more disgusting.
Yes.
Yeah. It would have been funnier if, like, when they got shot, all of a sudden these big poofs of feathers and foam and stuff came flying out. It would have been freaking hilarious, but it wouldn't have had the impact.
Yep.
No. And you got to think they got working parts. I mean, if they're fucking other puppets and you see them coming out.
Yeah, they are definitely not asexual.
They have organs. No. They have to have working organs.
An elephant and a chicken made a baby.
Yes. A chickafont.
Chickafont, which means that like stuff had to go out of something in his own mouth. Yeah.
I don't even want to know the logistics of how that works.
I don't either. I really don't. Even the walrus cat thing was like, I don't know.
I mean, that's just spit roasting a chicken, really.
Like an elephant penis. They can use that as like an extra trunk. Those things are enormous. Have you not seen things on elephants? Just to say, sorry. I watch a lot of Wild Kingdom.
Yeah. Well, like with most large mammals, the penises tend to be commensurate with the size of the mammal. So
not always,
but that's why I said tend to be.
Yeah. Gorillas have a small one compared to their size. Chimpanzees, not so much.
What do you say, gang? Shall we show Kyle what we're made of? Shall we remake this?
Let's do this.
Let's give it a shot.
It's a bit of a struggle for me,
Because
but I had some
between
ideas.
the three of us, we'll come up with
We'll figure
something that's
something out.
absolutely freaking genius.
Now, I was thinking, okay, the stage thing. I like the stage thing, but
I think it's key.
do you remember when they took the Muppet Show and kind of turned them into they were running an entire TV station?
I thought
Vaguely, yes.
Yeah.
an SCTV type thing
Yeah.
is what I thought of.
It still keeps that variety thing, but now they all have all their single shows, and you see a bit of the chaos and organizing all of that as well.
Because I have something to do with like one of the characters where it's not so much how he deals with stuff is different, but as part of his TV show, it sort of goes that way. And plus, you can have like musical shows, and you can have like some of the serious people, but
I see it more as pitching and when it comes down to casting and how catty that can get, and
yeah.
so you could still pull off a lot of the same stuff, but now you got a little bit broader scope and more motivations for jealousy
And more up to
things like
date.
that. See,
Like
and
a
more
television
up-to-date.
station is more up to date than a vaudeville variety show.
And I stayed with the stage show, not a variety show, but like a stage show type setting, and moved it so that Backstage was a reality show for the build up to the grand opening for this Broadway show.
Oh,
And the fly on the wall is dozens of them.
oh, I like this.
That is nice.
Yeah, so that's I told you I was thinking about this.
Yeah, you were.
Yeah, I was struggling because I had also sort of a similar idea, but I didn't have the reality show idea. I had it where it wasn't a variety show. My other idea, I was
Where you could be a mess in public.
yeah. Our other idea I was kicking around was it was like a high end like Shakespearean play, like it's one play, but it's a whole one of the like what was it? Was it Henry V? I was thinking it was something like that where they all had all these serious parts, but it was like all the backstage antics of them trying to mount this proper production.
That's kind of where I was going. Yeah, but it is like kind of like this sort of big Broadway play. I can't remember the guy who's really popular right now, but like you could even have like
Lin-Manuel.
That's
like Hamilton.
Yeah,
with
Hamilton. That's the
puppets.
guy. But yeah, you have the guy who, like it's his new show, and you have this sort of backstage chaos, all going out live to TV, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, kind of thing. Where when the flies are the fly on the wall, right? Like literally, like all over the place. They're the cameras,
Yeah.
and then you can still have those subplots with the drugs and stuff like that because the producer doesn't let anybody in his office. Right, and you could even have like the seedy stuff that the flies aren't even catching because there's just so much going on backstage.
Yeah. See, but I would kind of add one more thing where I'd have most of the perspective be Arthur, like as the stage manager who sees everything and knows everybody and does everything, like just to have a point of view, which you sometimes have to have in those shows. You can't just have it like too meandering. So have him be kind of the focus. They're following him most of the time. It's Arthur's point of view.
I like that, yeah, but
Well, you gotta, you follow the likable character and you follow the most villainous one.
Yeah, right. So you'd have Trevor kind of sneaking around behind the scenes, and you have Arthur sort of the face of the show.
Yep.
Right, because he's likable and people like him, and people talk to him, and so yeah, you could sort of have them sort of focus on his interactions, or have him introducing these people, right? But then you have these flies capturing all these other nasty little things that actually are happening in the background. So you've got one focus of the nice side, and then the other side, the seedy side.
Oh yeah, that would work. But I love the idea of like one show. But I just want to just float something out of here when I was thinking of like the television station, because I had two alternatives and I'm not quite sure how I could put them into like a show, like a one show. Is what I wanted the rabbit to actually be ill with the fatal STD, but be like a televangelist character, which made it even all the more worse.
That's taking it to an even darker place. And
That's what I like it. Yeah. And then the other thing I had is like the frog, Wynyard, he wasn't really addicted to drugs, but what he did was like a Bear Grylls type survivalist show. But what happened was because of his PTSD, he killed a crew member like every show, and they keep trying to cover it up, and they're kind of running out of ways to do so.
I like that too. I would yank out the BDSM. I think that's getting more accepted, so it's not so shocking anymore.
No, it's really not.
When he says maybe I should do snuff films, maybe we should do that.
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah, that's what he is doing.
Yeah.
And he's telling the people who are in it that they're just going to be in a porn.
Oof, dark.
We are taking it to darker places.
I'm disturbing myself.
That was my darker places. And my final note, I want Bletch to be a black rhino so that when he dies,
Oh, he's the last of his kind.
Yes.
But if he's such a lecherous guy, nobody's going to be too sad to see them go.
That is the point. That is the conflict we are all going to feel.
Oh, dear. I do like that, but it makes me sad.
Yeah, it's.
I took it to very dark places, guys.
You totally
There's
did,
something
yeah.
wrong with me, I think.
There's definitely something
Save the Black Rhino.
there. Yeah. Now I have a question because I've been thinking about this. This is the part that I was really struggling with: is would you stick solely puppets? Would you CGI, or would you do what Peter Jackson's doing now with the combination of CGI and puppets?
Yes, that last one.
That was okay.
That was exactly how I approached my casting, because I want a mix of practical and mocap. And now that we've seen him take real people and make them tiny into hobbits, and we've seen Avatar and giant blue people, we can do pretty much whatever the fuck we want.
Can I add one more aspect, which is something I was flipping around with, is like some stop motion, like claymation animation, which I always felt was very, very innocent. And I even make that really dark and unpleasant.
Robot Chicken's already doing that, though.
If you want. I mean,
But you wouldn't use action figures. I'm talking like proper made stuff.
yeah, well, I don't know. I mean, in a time when you can do the CG version quicker,
Yeah.
You know.
I don't
Yeah.
know. I just
And
like the
cheaper,
heft of
probably.
it.
probably cheaper, yeah.
Yeah, but
I mean, I'm
like
certainly
the
a fan of
idea.
it, too.
Yeah,
Okay,
But-
then if you're doing CGI, make it look like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In fact, when it came down to making my movie, I kept Peter Jackson as director, and I kept Weta on as my effects people, because look where they've come from.
Yeah.
And
Look
I
what
would
they were
be-
doing, and look what they're doing now.
and I was
I would
inclined to go
concur.
that direction as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I kept that. I'm like, well, let's see what Peter Jackson will do it again. I'm sure it'll be. Actually, this was initially pitched as a TV series, and then
Yes.
and then reworked into a film.
Which could explain why there's so much going on, because I could see in a TV
Yeah.
series why he'd want to put all these things in.
But they'd carry much better over a series.
They'd be an arc.
of half-hour episodes than
Yeah.
an hour-and-a-half film, and that's
I am a little worried about giving it back to Peter Jackson, because he'll make it like 6 films or.
like at least a 3-hour film and probably 3 3-hour films.
I have an alternative person, also a Kiwi, Taika Waititi.
Yeah, and he's,
He would be
he's
very
getting-
good.
He's been doing some great writing for stuff as well. So
I would,
See.
I'd give it to him.
Yeah. See, and we talked.
can
about
be a producer.
Yeah. We talked
Yeah.
about Sausage Party earlier on.
Yeah.
I'd like to see I think those guys could pull it off too, because they've already pulled off sort of the adult animation comedy kind of thing.
what about Matt and Trey? They've done They've done the Super
Yeah.
Marionette stuff.
Yeah.
So,
And-
although then again, after doing Team America, was it Team America?
Team
America,
America,
yeah.
World Police.
World Police. After doing something like that, I don't know if they'll ever want to do it again. But
No.
Yeah, but no, but I was thinking like who's done adult material with something that's typically aimed at children recently, and that was where I went, was because they were very successful at it, and what bits I've seen of Sausage Party are actually kind of funny.
yeah, I've got nothing to base that on right now.
Yeah, I haven't seen it.
I've only seen like clips from trailers and stuff like that, but it does look like it's not terrible.
At some point, I'll watch it. It looks funny. But yeah, I think about adult cartoons. Hey, Rob Zombie did the El Super Beasto as well.
Yeah.
Although, honestly, I found most of that unwatchable. So I don't know if I'd give it to him.
Yeah, I mean Ralph Bakshi hasn't done anything in years, but he's more animation than
He's
Yeah.
probably happily retired
Yeah.
at this point. But if anybody could get behind it and do something good with it, Ralph Bakshi would be the guy. I love that guy. So
See,
Yeah.
I don't know.
it would be kind of nice to have
If you
him
can-
go and do something that Peter Jackson did, considering Peter Jackson went and did something Bakshi did.
yeah, no kidding, right?
I'm going there. I don't care if he's retired. Bakshi, you're doing it.
I don't know. I'm going to stick with Taika because he knows how to weave a lot of narrative into like a small amount of time. He's good.
Yeah, he's a great writer and great performer as well. So
Yeah. And great director.
yeah, great director.
Hunt for the Wilder People is amazing.
Haven't seen it yet.
It's so good. It's so funny. It's great.
So many movies, so little time.
Yeah, and that's the problem. Is every time we come up with something else, I'm like, geez, I got to watch that. But I have to watch stuff for the show, and then that puts paid to just about anything else that I want to watch.
Yeah. This is one of those weeks where because we're doubling up on recordings to accommodate vacations and other events coming up, so we're trying to get ahead so you guys don't miss out on any episodes. So we are watching a shit
I was
ton of
just
movies
thinking
right now.
about this. If you want to update it. Not make it, and it might be a bad idea. We'll talk about it. How you're talking about, like, the TV station idea does give us more variety of what we can do, but some sort of, you know how, like, a lot of online podcasts, they have, like, sort of one sort of production company, like Wolf Pop and like Earwolf, but these guys are doing like video sort of online content.
See, I thought about going there too. And you can get away with a lot more on the internet than you can on television, but yeah, I really did like the reality show because then you could bring a whole bunch of FWs in, right? And make it a lot of fun that way.
What about the Amazon Women on the Moon approach? You know, where
different sketches. That's what it felt like at some
kind
points.
of sketches where you actually just go out of your way to separate them into gross segments, but they're complete in and of themselves.
There has to be some sort of tying element together in order to make it work.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah.
I do like just seeing all the behind the scenes production. I don't know. It was a stupid thought.
No, it wasn't a stupid thought. It was a good thought. But I think that would be maybe a Meet the Feebles 2 kind of thing. Where you could go into your TV studio where you get the sketches from the different shows, right? Or you could even incorporate it that way, right? But there still has to be something to tie it together. There has to be that.
To be fair, maybe that is the point. Maybe it's not even a Hamilton show. It's still a reality show, but maybe it's people trying to revive the variety show format.
What if they
and that way we can keep all those different aspects and different sketch areas.
But you also update the production of the show they're trying to do.
Yeah.
Because they're doing this big kind of Muppet Show thing.
No.
Well, that's not super popular anymore anyway. But
comedy sketch show.
Well,
I was gonna say
comedy
SNL.
but what if the production they're doing is more Cirque du Soleil?
Even better.
Ooh, I like that
Even
idea.
better. Right.
But they're just inept at it.
And you think about how big those casts are.
Ooh, and my PTSD frog. Here's another thing.
Then you can
Okay.
still have your knife throwing.
Yes, you could keep the knife throwing, but PTSD frog, here's the thing. When you think Cirque du Soleil, they have some amazing, elaborate costumes where sometimes they're like different creatures. He sees that as a real different creature and freaks the fuck out. And he kills a number of people, and part of what the production is trying to do is to keep him from killing their cast.
Yeah, the kills are memes, or there's people walking around on crutches because of him, right? Or you've got knives sticking out of. Yeah, I like it.
And and Bletch is like the head of this company, and like he's been trying to keep a lowdown on this guy's been killing so many people, and he's like part of his
feeding
fire.
The beast in the basement way too often,
and that's why the Rat is there. The Rat is like his cleanup guy, like in Hail Caesar. He's like that. Who does the dirtiest of work to keep things going.
What he did in this movie too.
It's true, but it like updates him a bit.
And it just makes him that much more critical. And you know what? You can even add yet another element to an already overbloated film. That creature, whatever it is down in the basement, is getting fed so well that it's getting out of hand.
Oh yeah.
Ooh. And the bunny, like my televangelist angle, like the bunny pretends to be like the super like Christian, like this is about the higher purpose and blah blah blah. He worships the creature.
We're going to some.
He secretly worships that creature, so he's a fucking hypocrite.
He's a Scientologist. Except he's a monsterologist.
Monsterologist, yeah.
Oh, I like it. We're fucked up.
We really are. But this is why this is working. I was struggling with this whole thing. And because of all our collective messed up minds, this is now coming together.
It is coming together. So let's sort of coalesce it all, sort of see where we're going, so that we can then build on that. Okay, so we have the Cirque du Soleil type show.
Love that idea.
Yeah, I still like the reality aspect of it because it's double dipping.
But it's got to be a Cirque du Soleil show now.
So you got the fly on the wall stuff.
Yeah, but it has to be Cirque du Soleil because that
gives the whole.
Because their shows are so full of amazing, elaborate stuff that's just incredible. That really just make it like puppetry. Puppets would be in this environment.
I'm liking that. And then we've added Walter with it, or is it Walter or Harry?
Oh, I'm not even sure who you're
bunny.
The bunny's Harry.
Yeah,
Harry. Okay. Yeah.
Harry the Hare.
Harry, that's right. Harry. Okay. I don't know why you want to call him Walter. You got Harry, who's
externally on the reality show, super Christian.
Yeah, but in the background, he's a horny bunny who worships the
Monster in the basement.
The monster in the basement.
Essentially a legit version of Satan.
Yeah.
Yes, who's
Or
now
a
getting
legit
a hand
televangelist.
A monster from hell.
Yeah,
Monster from the pits of hell.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is getting fed bodies and is now starting to get to the point where he can't be contained anymore.
Which is
He's
where our
like-
finale comes
He's
from.
like the cabin in the woods monster. They're just
Yeah.
keeping it at bay.
Yeah.
But we don't even have to have a shootout finale. The finale is the monster.
It's not Heidi going apeshit on, which, let's face it, it's a little sensitive now.
Yes.
We've had too many theater shootings, so
Yeah, and
things like
that's
that.
yeah, that was a concern of mine,
That
actually.
is a bit
That's
of
what
a
I
concern
thought
of mine,
about, too.
And I'm like, yeah, that one bugs me just a little bit.
And now we
we've
have a solution.
You don't want the same things.
So,
Anyway,
but we do have to have her
And it
do
also
something
keeps her
to
wonderful.
Bletch, because
Yeah.
because of the way he turns on her. I think that she should castrate him.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Just a simple, horrible act of violence, and then she'd only go to prison for a short time instead of the life that she would in real life versus the 10 years that she got.
Oh, I think she this will be good. This all happens when she catches Samantha with the rhino now. 'Cause
Yes,
he's a
black rhino.
He's not a walrus anymore. He's a black rhino. Makes him charge, accidentally impales Samantha.
Yeah.
Pardon the pun.
Yeah, and now he's on the wall, stuck on the wall with her, with Samantha in between the head and the wall.
Oh, yeah,
And
so he
this
looks
is-
like he's mounted.
So yeah, it kind of looks like he's mounted, and this while he's stuck, that's when you can get the castration happening.
Ooh, and I want it so that he's addicted to, because he's such a crazy nut bar, he has to have Viagra, which, she force feeds him a ton so that she has a nice big erection for when she slices off his cock.
Holy.
Oh man, there went your future dates.
Yeah. Yeah,
Bobbit.
You should see the creepy grin that she has right now, guys.
It's a puppet.
It is a puppet, yes. It's the grin
Sam
that's
and I
scaring
both
me.
crossed
It's
their legs, and
the grin that scares me.
Well, no, who was, okay, you're talking castration and
I
you're
did.
fine.
I was the one who brought it up. I admit it. I was the one who brought it up.
But I thought this would get the drugs angle in there.
It would get the drugs angle in there, and it could throw back to when he sleeps with Heidi the one last time because he has to take the Viagra to perform because he's not attracted to her anymore.
Exactly.
yeah.
So
See?
it does tie all together again. It was
I
how
have a
descriptive
method
you
to
were,
my
that was disturbing.
madness.
And the
Okay.
grin. It was the fucking grin.
Sorry, I think, but let me get this straight. It's not because I want to cut off people's dicks. It's because Bletch just really irritated me so much. I want to make him suffer. I don't like him as a character.
You're not supposed to because he is reprehensible.
Exactly, and he's even more reprehensible now that we've made him even more reprehensible.
Yes.
I don't know how we did it, but we did it.
Yeah, but I like the whole him killing Samantha accidentally. The whole mounted rhino head.
The visual in my
joke.
head is great.
And
I love
then
that
you
idea.
have then you have the comeuppance by Heidi. Completely works for me. Gets rid of the very sensitive theater shooting scene.
Yes.
That we've replaced with the horrific monster scene instead, which is always fun.
Yeah, so most people are going to get eviscerated. by
You want to
this
get
beast
real
from
dark,
hell.
though?
Sure, why not? Great.
At some point, Heidi uses the penis as a weapon against the monster. Because she's still got it.
because she's
Stabs
gone,
it through the brain with the penis.
and she's gone to fugue state.
Just in its eye.
I'm liking it. Go with it.
Sure.
Because it's still a wreck from the Viagra.
What if she cut it off with balls still attached and could squeeze? And so it shoots like a gut.
Yeah, we're going for the NC-17, possibly the X.
But at that point, Heidi's like, she's just going for pew, 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 pew. She's making the mouth sounds because that's all she knows how to do. Even at this point, the monster itself is disgusted.
Kyle, you brought this on yourself.
At this point, the monster's like, ew. But as a big monster,
Oh,
perfect.
Oh.
So
we think
good.
we're funny. We hope you do too.
We're really twisted. It's great.
Shall we cast this?
Sure. This doesn't.
But I have to say, there's one thing I will cut.
I
want to cut one thing, and I'm just saying for just the sake of it, and I just want to state it.
Okay.
I want to cut the drug dealing subplot.
That gives us
Like where I don't want him going to the docks and doing the whole thing. I just kind of want it cleans it up a bit and eliminates a lot of extraneous crap.
I don't know.
I want the rat to still be dealing drugs, but I don't want like the drug heist to be.
You're
in
basically
there.
dealing with two crime bots. I don't know. I kind of.
it has to be tightened up, but
it needs to be tightened for sure. Like Mr. Big comes
But
out
it
of
felt
nowhere.
tacked on. Like the heist itself just seemed ridiculous.
You can rework it a bit.
yeah, it does need to be. But because I really like the Scottish Warthog character,
Yeah.
and I cast him, and I want to cast him because I love.
I didn't cast him, but I probably have a guy in mind.
You know, it's probably the guy that I cast.
Okay.
Oh, I
because
didn't.
we both
See,
love
I
him.
didn't cast him because I cut him.
Yeah, so
He just wasn't important enough for me to cast.
I only cast him because
I didn't just
he was
wouldn't
one of
know
my
that
easy ones.
storyline.
He popped into my head right away, so I cast him anyhow. But yeah, it does need to be tightened up a lot.
But how would you tighten it? Because it just seems like it's. I don't know.
What if the gangsters were?
It's just a sideline which doesn't seem to
What if-
fit in the
what-
theater.
no,
Speaks
but
to
what if-
how reprehensible Bletch really
What if
is.
Bletch?
Right?
What if this is more of a mob scenario, where you've got that hierarchy of the boss of the bosses, and Bletch is one of those sub bosses, and really this is a money laundering scheme show.
Okay, working.
Okay, so yeah, but make it money laundering
So-
and not drugs.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's fine. So
Oh,
now,
okay, that's
now
good.
you're
Thank you.
working.
There's
Now
you
you've
criminal enterprise.
Yeah,
Doesn't matter what
it's
it is.
still a criminal
that's
enterprise,
more-
and you can bring them in earlier into the film as okay, well, we need to
Yeah.
move this cash through the show or whatever, and
that feels
and
more
then-
organic to being part of
yeah,
that
so make it
show.
feel like a more of an organized.
Yeah, money
crime
laundering
thing.
makes more sense.
And you
Thank
could
you.
you could still have Sebastian handle the drug side of things.
Yeah, no, like I would just want him
Yeah.
to be dealing
And
drugs, but
you
I don't
can-
want the drugs to be a whole storyline.
Yeah, and so you got underbosses, and you've got maybe some guys going into business for themselves, and that's when you get the borax scene. You can rework it so everything
get some
kind
of
of
those-
attaches to each other.
Yeah, so they've got some of those
Yeah.
scenes without having to have that big that
Yeah.
extraneous subplot.
See, and I don't
So
like
you
that.
bring
Environment,
Mr.
Yeah, taking
Yeah.
them out of the environment, that really was kind of jarring, and I
Yeah.
didn't like it.
Let's take Mr. Big. He's not the whale. He's the thing in the basement. Maybe
No, because
No, I think it's something
he has to be something outside of that the environment.
Yeah.
He does have
Okay.
to be. Yeah.
because when he destroys everything, if he's Mr. Big, he's destroying his money
That's true.
enterprise,
Yeah,
and that's not right.
It doesn't make sense.
Like, I think Mr. Big, if there is a Mr. Big, he'd be scared of the thing in the basement because that's dangerous to his
Yeah.
enterprise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you know what? That can be part of that whole subplot with it too. Is he's like
And they
you
do
need to
like
do
them
some-
driving through Mr. Big.
that was funny, yeah. But yeah, I think that whole could be one of those things. Is you need to do something about your solution in the basement because it's not a solution anymore; it's a problem, right?
Yeah.
Ooh, great piece of dialogue, actually.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah, no, the solution is a problem. And the rat has to say it for some reason. Like, the rat is so reprehensible, but he just has to have that one moment of wisdom,
Yeah.
which would be really fun.
It would be, yeah, and yet he's skeevy.
Yeah, he's skeevy, but he's smart enough to know when shit's going to go
Yeah,
bad.
he's like this. Yeah, we can't give this thing anymore, otherwise, it's
Yeah.
going to like tear this place apart, and it does.
Yeah.
But then the bunny's like, give it more. It must have more. It must
And
rise again.
And that could be, instead of the disease, that could be Harry's story. Is, you're right, it's the worship of the beast or the monster or whatever you want to call it, and then he feeds it that one last thing that pushes it over. Mm-hmm. He's the final. He's the one who feeds it that final straw. Pardon the pun.
Yeah.
Maybe just one of those last little
tribble
The
things.
tribbles, yes.
Yeah.
Just one waffle. It's only waffle thin.
Yeah, and
It is only waffle thin.
that could be a great little joke. Is whenever Trevor's not feeding it remains from
Other actors.
Wynyard's accidents, Harry's down there like, tossing these tribbles into his mouth and giggling maniacally.
Yeah.
It's going, where are all my tribbles going?
Yeah.
Or whatever the hell those things were.
He puts it in a barrel called Triples and Bits. Tribbles and Bits, Tribbles and Bits.
Just chumming it.
had to do that. That's so fun.
Okay, I think that the only thing we haven't covered now is our Sid's story and Robert and Lucille. And I really want more Robert and Lucille because that story...
The love story, I think, should stay.
It should stay, and it didn't get the attention it deserved.
And now you can actually put her in more peril as she becomes the possible victim for the snuff film that we decided it was going to be.
Exactly.
Yeah, right. So and
it makes Robert's thing more heroic.
It does make his thing more heroic, and really, you need to. There's that whole lead up to where Trevor drugs her and then is about to rape her when Robert walks in, and there's no understanding of what happened, right? And Robert's all like, I don't trust you. You're a harlot.
Lucille, you're a harlot.
Yeah.
You told me you didn't wink.
Yeah, exactly. So, and this is where the flies on the wall can play their key role. Instead of revealing a secret, a reprehensible secret, they show Robert what actually happened.
Oh yeah, and they can be like, the whole thing is like, yeah, we know as documentarians you're not really supposed to. You're supposed to remain objective, but we can't in this instance, man.
Well, no, I don't know if you don't have to make the flies likable in that regard. It's just stirring the pot.
Exactly. Right?
Yeah.
Because then you can have Robert go after Trevor, right?
Yeah, it's just a better story, or makes for a better story for the show or whatever. Let's create some more drama,
especially when the monster comes up and Robert sheds some of his innocence. Instead of the monster just getting Trevor, Robert makes sure that the monster gets Trevor. He trips him or does something so that he can't get away from the monster. Right, just to add a little more depth to Robert's character. He's not just as innocent. He's not as innocent as you think he is.
Yeah.
Ooh, wonder if that would be how you defeat the monster. Is because maybe the monster can only get bigger when it's being fed basically innocent victims. And once you feed it something truly reprehensible, it poisons it.
It's getting a little nuts.
Maybe.
Yeah.
But I'm like, how do we kill it?
Trevor has a whole bunch of his drugs on him.
Okay.
Right.
Oh yeah,
and he
overdoses the monster.
Yeah, just
overdoses the monster.
Yeah,
I mean, either that, or you could still have. I like the whole impaling it with.
Oh no, I think like a couple things will kill the monster.
What if Heidi, after chopping
Heidi
off the
corners it with the gun, the dildo squirt gun.
Well, and what if she actually cuts off his dick first and then goes the other end of the wall and then cuts off his horn? So now she's got two weapons.
Yeah.
Or you know what? Maybe she comes in after it's eaten Trevor, and he's now high as a freaking kite on the suitcase of heroin that Trevor was trying to save, and she kills him while he's incapacitated, using her weapon of choice.
Yeah, but I mean, it just seems. I'm sorry. Like, if this thing is a giant, big beast of evil, one hit from like a horn of a black rhino because it's going extinct.
The horn of a last black rhino.
Then we're getting to the kind of like the mystical, supernatural kind of stuff. But why not?
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm kind of getting at. Something bigger than that has to kill it. Like, I don't think you have to do it like that.
At this point, this is when the police show up. They are able to incapacitate. They're able to restrain it because it's now high on all this heroin. And then they incarcerate it in a suitable location.
In the cabin in the woods.
Yeah, in the cabin in the woods. And there we go, tie into the right? But yeah, so it doesn't die, right? It just becomes dormant again because of the drugs, and they stop feeding it, and it just sort of goes back to its normal dormant self.
And then it goes to a tiny little cute puppet squid thing.
I am Groot.
No, like, because they stop feeding it gets smaller and smaller, and all of a sudden it's like this little puppet with big eyes, and then you have the final cut scene after the credits where the guy's like, "Oh, you're so cute,"
and then Heidi steps on it.
I can't do that.
No, then this guy feeds it something, and you set yourself up for.
Oh, Jesus.
Feebles too.
There should never be a
Feebler
in this movie.
No, there really should. Not after what we've done to it.
And as far as Sid goes, I don't think I'd change much there.
No, Sid's story's perfect.
Rescue the kid and take responsibility as a father. He's got a sweet story that I don't think needs changing.
Yeah, and shouldn't go anywhere. Shouldn't be removed.
Okay, we're starting to run long like a Peter Jackson movie. Let's get into our casting and see what we got. So go ahead, Trish.
Okay, I didn't cast everybody because, like I say, I got rid of a couple of
whatever you got.
lines. Okay, so for Heidi, I put Meryl Streep because she can sing. Belch, Bletch, Sir Ian McKellen.
Nice.
Samantha is Helen Mirren. Robert is Matt Berry. And Lucille is Sinead Matthews, who I was saying, she has a very distinctive voice. She was on Toast of Planet a couple times. And the frog, I have Alan Ford.
Nice.
The fox is Patrick Stewart.
Nice.
And for the rabbit, I've got Tim Downey, who's also another British actor, but he's got a pretty good voice.
Very cool. That's a great cast. I think you and I had similar approaches. For sure.
I didn't so much. I went with actors who've done voice work in the past. Actually, almost every single one of them has. I went a slightly different direction, I think. Maybe? Okay. Sorry. Talking to the mic? Sorry.
Yes, talking to the mic.
Sorry, I was looking at my list and had my head turned. So for my Heidi, I went with Katie Sagal.
Oh, nice.
Because she can sing as well.
And she's done voice work, Archer.
Oh, yeah.
Archer,
Futurama. Leela.
For my Bletch, just because his voice would be perfect for it, I went with Will Arnett.
Oh, nice.
For my Samantha, I went with somebody that we talked about last week, Marianne Cotillard.
Oh, nice.
Because I wanted a French accent for the cat.
Yeah, which is weird because it's a Kiwi movie, but Samantha's Southern somehow.
Yeah, so I went French instead. For my Sebastian, I went with Tim Curry.
Nice.
Just because I'd love to see him do voice work. I know that he's not physically capable anymore, but I think it's still got
His voice is still there.
Still
probably.
there, yeah.
Yeah, it's a great thing. Even if you do mocap, we can have voice work. So, yeah, that was my approach to casting. I'm like, some of them can do the mocap, but I'm mainly going for the voice work. So.
Yeah. For my Robert, I went with Seth Green.
Nice.
Yeah, because I think he could do it. I mean, I know that's pretty much what he does now, anyhow. But
Nice.
so what? I like it. For my Lucille, I went with Lacey Chabert.
Okay.
Because I think she can do that kind of innocence fairly well. For my Arthur, because I went with half the cast of the Family Guy, I went with Seth MacFarlane for Arthur because he can do I think he could have a lot of fun with that character.
Okay.
I'm going to save Nick Cage. I saved Trevor for last. No, my Trevor was Nicolas Cage.
Is he Nicolas Cage?
Yeah,
he's Nicolas
Nice.
Cage, isn't he?
Yeah, he's Nicolas Cage. I'm reading backwards. I'm dyslexic today.
I've got mine.
Or
in
not
no
somebody
particular
doing
order,
Nicolas
so.
Cage, just Nicolas Cage.
Yeah, but yeah, I think he'd have fun just eating up scenery as Trevor, the evil one. For Wynyard, I went with Christopher Lloyd, as we already mentioned.
As did I.
Yeah. For my Sid, I went with Ned Beatty.
Ooh.
And for my Harry the Rabbit, I went with Harry Shearer.
Okay.
And then for my Cedric, because we saved him for last, I went with Billy Connolly.
Oh, nice.
Because
Nice.
I love casting actors when they can use their native accent. So yeah, I'm like, as soon as I saw the Scottish Warthog, like literally as soon as I saw him, like, Billy Connolly.
It actually wasn't who I had in mind, but that's perfect.
And then that was.
I mean, I didn't cast him, but I've used the dude before, the guy who's on Preacher right now. As Cassidy.
Yes, and
I would probably use him as the Warthog, but I don't remember his name, and you guys can go look it up on your own because I didn't actually cast that character. So
Yeah, I think he's Irish rather than Scottish, but yeah, that works still.
it still works.
Yeah.
I was thinking more of that punk thing,
Yeah.
you know. All right, for my casting, I did the director already. I'm going to do this in no particular order because I just kind of wrote them as I thought them while I was watching the film.
It's a hard one.
So for my Heidi, I went with Ed Asner. He's done animation before, and he's done Granny Goodness on Superman, the animated series. So he's played a female character, and it's a dude playing the character anyway. So I kind of like that idea of going with the Frank Oz kind of thing, and I thought that would be kind of fun.
And it's funny because I actually looked at Ed Asner for another character too. I was actually going to cast him as well, but I just went a different direction.
So I agree with Sam, Christopher Lloyd for Wynyard. For Harry, it just seems so obvious and on the nose. Charlie Sheen.
Oh, man.
Too soon? Maybe?
No, that was perfect.
Okay. Sometimes they write their own jokes. For the paparazzi fly, mainly because of the bug eyes and the connection to Peter Jackson, Elijah Wood.
Oh, Elijah Wood, okay.
I did use Sir Ian McKellen, but I did him as Sebastian the Fox.
Okay.
As the gay stage manager, and he could yell.
Yeah. I don't know. I was just going with his deep voice.
And I do stick with a lot of Peter Jackson's guys in this as well. Not all the time, though.
That's sort of why I went with Sir Ian, because I'm like, oh, yeah.
For Robert the Porcupine, I kept scratching names out because things got more appropriate.
It's hard.
But Martin Freeman. Yeah.
Sort of.
I mean, he kind of already
see
is
it.
that Well, he's already kind of, especially with the way he delivers lines on Sherlock and The Hobbit, with that.
But see, with Sherlock as Dr. Watson is not as naive as Robert.
Well, I'm not saying he has to play Dr. Watson.
I know, but I mean, like that's kind of why I can't.
I'm going
see
for the
it.
voice.
I can't see it.
That's all right. Well, I think.
I could see it working.
Yeah, it's the one I can't see. But anyway.
All right. For Trevor the Rat, because it was a Peter Lorre impression, and I've seen Kiefer Sutherland do it already in Dark City, I went with Kiefer Sutherland for that role because he's already done a half-decent Peter Lorre. For Arthur the Snake, I went with Alan Ford. You might better know him as Bricktop from Snatch.
That's what I got. That was my Wynyard.
There you go. For Samantha the Cat, I wanted something sexy and sultry. I went with Gina Gershon.
Ooh.
And that's everybody. That's everybody I cast anyway.
Yeah, and it was a big cast, and I just went through sort of an, okay.
I think they're all good. Like, everybody we came up with.
I took only kind of the main ones I wanted.
Those were,
because there's a lot.
I kind of hit the main story characters, and those minor ones I just kind of skipped.
Yeah, and I would have skipped Cedric, like I said, if Billy Connolly hadn't popped into my head like immediately.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Yeah,
I got no arguments with Billy Connolly. That's for sure.
Yeah, I don't, and anybody who in their right mind shouldn't.
See, I see him more like, I don't know. I'd like to see him as Arthur.
You know what? He would be a good replacement for Arthur as well.
He would be good.
Yeah, he totally would.
Yeah. So either way, he's in.
Yeah, that grandfathery Arthur, but Scottish. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that was. I will say that remaking it was probably more fun than watching it. I certainly laughed a lot more.
I certainly laughed a lot more at our own sicknesses.
I know.
Sure.
I still enjoyed watching it, but I'm really proud of us for going darker than the whole thing did.
And updating and
pleased.
And fixing some of the things that didn't work in it, hopefully.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So I want to know what disgusting things our audience would have puppets do. I don't know why I would want to know this, but I do. And you could tweet us your most sickest, disgusting puppet sex thing you can think of at Invasion Remake on Twitter, Invasion the Remake, of course, on Facebook. You can join our fan page there, and invasiontheremake@gmail.com if you want to email us. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm looking forward to those emails.
some Meet the Feebles puppet fan fiction. Let's do it, guys. Let's really dig into that. An Arthur Robert 3-way with.
I may regret that one. I'm like, what is wrong with our
Give you a few
audience?
ideas.
We already know, Jay. We already know. They listen to us, so we know what's wrong with them.
They're one of us. They're the invaders of God.
Can you get darker than Trish?
That's right.
Try it.
And honestly, don't blame me. Blame Kyle. Blame Kyle.
Yeah.
It's not my fault. It's
Kyle's fault.
Kyle's fault.
But you know what?
And on that note, thank you, Kyle, because it was
thanks,
fun.
Kyle.
This was fun.
And I think we really did a good job. I love how much darker we made this and how much, like the Cirque du Soleil angle. I'm just imagining this show. It's going to be wonderful.
Well, if you like what we did, please give us a 5-star rating and a review over on iTunes. It helps us out. It gets more
earballs
on the show and helps people find the show. So please do us that solid and go leave a review and a rating. If we hit 100 ratings or 100 reviews, we'll probably do a bonus episode and get you to vote for that on Twitter. So it's also a good idea to like us on Facebook and Twitter. And you can be involved in that poll when it happens, if it happens.
For sure.
And, of course, if you're already listening, but if you have friends who aren't and you said, you got to have them listen to the Meet the Feebles episode, then there's lots of places you can do it. We're all over the place as far as platforms. The main ones are iTunes, Libsyn, Stitcher, Google Play Music, TuneIn Radio, Audio Boom,
Player FM.
Player FM, thank you. I was almost
and
there.
Even YouTube.
Yeah.
Frickin' YouTube.
Which is where I saw this movie, FYI.
Yeah, that's where I saw it as well. It was on YouTube, so.
Me too.
I don't know if it should be there, but it was there. That's how I saw it.
I think that's how they believe, because it's not real nudity, because it's foam boobies. I don't know what the deal is.
I don't know either. That one's a tricky one. But oddly enough, it was there, so.
Yep. You can do nose to anal with puppets, but nowhere else.
Yeah, so if, tell your friends, tell your family, and how to find the show, grab their phones and see what podcast apps they have and subscribe them for them, and they'll either thank you or hate you for it.
Exactly.
Depends
Probably
how
both.
sensitive they are. Yes.
Yeah, depending on the episode. If they start with this one, there's probably going to be a discussion.
And we hope so. We love talking about this stuff. We would love it if you were talking about us.
Oh, yeah. But I see it between them and their friend or family member being like, we have to talk.
Yeah. And this did come up because Kyle was inspired by listening to our King Kong episode, and that brought him thinking about Peter Jackson and his earlier films. And that was when the challenge happened. So...
Yes.
You know, you never know what's going to inspire you. We're certainly up for more challenges in the future. Keep it open, but you've seen how broad spectrum the challenges have been, so try not to make it too obvious.
Yeah,
True.
and they don't have to be really obscure.
No,
hard
not
ones,
at all.
Oh, no.
Right? We did Paint Your Wagon, which is, considered a classic.
Yeah.
And we're up
But it was
to...
lovely.
And that was a fun movie one as well.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed the movie, and I really enjoyed remaking it. So.
And even Hard Rock Zombies, like, I love the challenge because it's in this room talking with you guys that you can find that nugget of brilliance to make it kind of
I made that
work.
one even harder because we were in the room watching the movie and then went straight into podcasting. We had no prep time for that thing. So it was all off the cuff on that one.
Challenges
which
are
is
so
pretty
much
cool.
fun.
Yeah,
So much
challenges
fun.
were so much fun.
Yeah,
All right.
we do want to do another one of those. You just have to. We just have to have the right film to do. Right?
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah,
This one I thought was good.
the more suggestions we get, the more challenges may happen. So it won't be all the time, but I'd like to do it at least once a month. So
for sure.
Send us your challenges, and we'll meet them.
Yeah.
And just remember, if you send us stuff on Twitter, we do read them, obviously, and we do respond, obviously.
True.
Yeah, it's not somebody on our behalf. It is us. We are seeing it. So don't worry about that. If you want to chat with us, you are chatting directly with us, and we'll try to identify which one you're talking to.
Yeah, and if you're disturbed by how we came to our conclusions in this episode, remember, it's your challenge. So think about that when you ask.
And when
That's
we
right.
watch stuff like this,
You know not
it
what
takes
you
us
do.
into these places.
Yeah.
And
So-
we can't leave them.
Exactly. And when you think about what we did, you did this. You did this.
That's right. So don't complain. Complain to Kyle.
Yeah.
You can scour our Twitter feed for the challenge and then blame Kyle.
You know who we are.
We just did the challenge. We were up to it. Okay. I take no responsibility for Kyle and his choices.
He put us in charge of this. It's not, we just did what we were
Knowing
going to do.
full well that we crazy.
Yeah. We dark and we crazy.
All right. Well, that was it for the fan challenge. I've been Jason.
I've been Sam.
I've been Trish.
All right. Puppet sex. We're
I
out.
think it's very odd of me.
Oh, man. We're out of here.
How are we feeling, Harry?
I feel real bad, Doc. What have I got?
I'll do some tests, but I don't hold out much hope. There's only one disease that fits these symptoms. It's the big one, Harry.
No, not the big
I'll have
one.
to notify the health authorities. They want a list of your sexual partners for the last 12
It
months.
can't be true. It can't be. I've taken precautions. Tell me, Doc, how long have I got?
It's difficult to tell, but with a case as advanced as yours, 10, maybe 12
Months?
hours.
Oh,
I'm sorry, Harry.
Doc, can you do me one favor?
Sure, Harry. Shoot.
Don't tell anyone. Let me do the show tonight.
Okay, Harry.
I want to go out with my reputation intact.